Hey everybody, it's Bendy Mark here and I'm back with another video. Less formal video, more of a chit chat video. A couple weeks ago I posted a picture to the community tab and I think it said something along the lines of like, does a spouse have say in what you do with your hair as a woman? How especially do they have say when it comes to locking your hair? And the comment section was really interesting. Actually, a lot of different people had a lot of different things to say and they were all coming from different perspectives. But I decided, because so many people engaged, that I would go ahead and make a committed video about it. So for me, with my first set of locks, I absolutely felt like I needed to garner my husband's support in that, and had he not supported me, I probably wouldn't have locked my hair. It felt like a way too permanent and drastic of a change to my physical aesthetic that if he didn't come up behind me in support of that, I probably wouldn't have done it. But he was actually really supportive. He was a little bit leery because he himself didn't know too much about locks, but he ultimately just supported my decision to lock my hair. Interestingly, throughout the lock journey, he never said anything negative about my hair, but when I cut my locks, he, I think in that moment, felt more free to be honest about his feedback, and he said he really just didn't care about locks. He didn't, well, I should say, he didn't care for locks. And he never said anything about my hair while my locks were maturing, but in his defense, there were some times where I looked back at my first set of locks and I just looked toe up. Like, I really did look a hot mess. Some of that was because it's just a part of the process of your hair locking, but there were instances where my hair looked more awkward than was necessary, and I think that that was due to, at the time, my lack of experience in how I formed my locks. The second time around, my going into locks was a little bit different because now I had relaxed hair. I had relaxed my hair, and my husband had said, yeah, I don't really care what you do with your hair, just don't get locks again, because I really didn't like that. So that was fine. So I relaxed it, and then as my hair started growing back in, I was like, you know, I don't actually want to relax my hair anymore. And then I was, you know, thinking about like, I'm just gonna let it grow in natural, but obviously when you have the relaxed ends with your natural roots growing in, it just doesn't really work long term. But I was like, it's okay, like I'll grow it out and then I'll cut it. And then it came time for me to actually get the cut, and like this huge conflict erupted between my husband and I. And it wasn't until that moment that I learned that he has a major problem with me cutting off all of my hair every 2 to 3 years, which, without thinking about it, has kind of become my routine, where I grow out my hair for 2 to 3 years, it gets to about shoulder length, and then I like cut all of it off for one reason or another. And I hadn't recognized that had become a pattern, but he did, and he really didn't like it. And he just said, like, I don't want you to cut your hair, like, you keep cutting it and I don't like it. And it turned into like this huge thing. And so then I was like, okay, well, I know I'm not going to continue relaxing it. How am I going to manage like 2 different textures without, you know, eventually cutting my relaxed hair? And for a while, I just kind of managed the 2 by doing really chunky braids at my roots and then leaving my relaxed ends loose, and I would just like blow dry it and do braid outs, and that worked for a while. But after a while, I was doing that like every week, like washing it, braiding it, and then blow drying it, and then it dawned on me like, I could just put braids in and never take them out. And then that is how I ended up on the lock journey. My husband, I did not tell him the second time around that I was locking my hair, and I didn't tell him because I knew that he was not going to be supportive. And like I said, in his defense, I understood why. Like, my hair looked pretty rough, and I don't think that he liked that I cut my hair 2 years in after deciding that I didn't like that. So he didn't want me to lock my hair. I knew that, so I just did it without saying anything. But he's not a dummy, and after a while he saw me doing very meticulous parting on my roots, and he put 2 and 2 together, and he just said, are you locking your hair again? I said, yeah. And then he just left the room. He just didn't say anything about it. And to be honest, like, he hasn't said anything negative, and this is the thing about him, like, I don't think that Girl, I'm filming. Go. Go.
Here.
Thanks. Go. You said you don't want to be on Big Martin. So the thing about him is, I still don't think that locks are his favorite, but I think that he is recognizing the differences in between my journeys. One, because I didn't have to cut my hair, which I think is the most offensive part of like changing hairstyles for him, is the cutting of hair. So the fact that I didn't cut my hair, I think he's more okay with it. And also, I mean, I genuinely think that this lock journey in comparison to my first one has been much smoother sailing, which makes sense because I have more experience. I know what I'm doing. I know my hair better. I know what to expect from my hair with the locking process. So I really haven't had any awkward phase. Like, I think I'm heading into 7 months and I still don't have an awkward phase. And I'm like, if I don't have an awkward phase by now, I'm not going to have one. So I think that those two things combined, me not cutting my hair and not having my hair look so strange, has helped him to be more comfortable with the locking process this go around. But yeah, for me, I ended up not telling him. I just didn't say anything because I knew he wasn't gonna like it. Did you involve your husband in the conversation about you starting locks on your hair? The different perspective is always an interesting conversation. So leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time.